So it just became a lifestyle. And once I had my child and got out, I told myself I wasn't letting myself go. I don't care how many women around me was getting butts and guts and everything. I said, oh no, not me.
Trucking, big wheels there humming, high rate of fuel consumption, missing mama, needing loving, rolling with the weight of sound, running like a southern shaker. I don't need no 40 acres to turn this rig around.
Welcome back to Trucking Fitness Radio, the #1 driver's health and fitness podcast in the world. My name is Dr. Mark Minera. I'm the founder and CEO of the Trucking Fitness Company, and I'm pumped to have you listening to this episode. As you're aware, we are on a mission to make the trucking industry a healthier place, and this podcast is just one of the ways that we're doing it. And today, I've got an awesome guest on. I met her on TikTok, and she is showing drivers out there that it's possible to be fit and active out on the road. And I just love her content and what she's putting out on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram as well. So Wakerah, thank you so much for coming on. Thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, thanks, Mark. I appreciate it a lot. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, tell me a little bit, before we dive too deep, tell me a little bit about how you got into the industry and got into truck driving.
Okay, good. So I used to be in the Navy for 5 years. And after I got out of the Navy, I went back home and I had my daughter. And I was always thinking of what I would do. I never wanted to be a lifer. That's what they call it in the military. Mm-hmm. So I got out and I went to school for nursing. And for some reason, I could not pass the NCLEX, and I've never struggled in school. I took it 5 times, couldn't pass. And I was like, maybe this is just not for me. I don't understand. So I took a leap. I went to a temp agency to start over. They gave me a job working at Ryder. And I was like, what, the trucks? I was like, I don't know nothing about no trucks. So a family member was like, go ahead and try it. Then I met all these truckers and they were telling me about the lifestyle. And of course, they're buying first trucks and multiple trucks. And I'm like, what? So it was crazy because the first time I had to go around and do an inspection of the truck, I got in and I was like, they have a bed in here? I really didn't know nothing. I was like, oh my God, they got a bed. So that was my introduction. I learned about it. And then when they didn't hire me on, how you go from the temp agency and the main company hires you permanently, they let me go. And I used my GI Bill and went to CDL school. And that was it.
Awesome.
Everybody doesn't have that privilege because you have to come out of pocket for some money. But they let me go Wednesday. I was in school by Monday.
That's amazing. And
thank you. That quick.
Yeah, thank you for your service. And I'm sure going from the Navy to trucking was kind of a reality check potentially, because I mean I know not everyone so I grew up by an Air Force base, so there's a little jokes there about Air Force not being the fittest people in the military, but I'm sure in the Navy obviously there was requirements of staying fit, and when you move that to the requirements of a DOT physical, it's kind of a joke fitness level. Easy. So talk to me about how you got into fitness, and how that transition was into trucking.
So I think I've been being I was kind of fit before then, just in high school and everything. But once I got into the military, you had to do PT 2 or 3 times a week, and then you have to do your fitness test. So it just became a lifestyle. And once I had my child and got out, I told myself I wasn't letting myself go. I don't care how many women around me was getting butts and guts and everything. I said, oh no, not me. So I continued to work out. And let me tell you this, the first time I worked out a lot, I did the insanity workout. And I was like, you have to know your limits for Shaun T, because Shaun T does not play. No, I got skin T. And I was like, people around me was like, you losing a little too much weight. I was like, okay. So I got it back and I did it in moderation. And ever since then, I was like, I don't care what I'm doing. I'm going to stay in shape because only I can control that. I can't worry about anybody else. So once I got into trucking, I was like, how can I find ways to stay fit on the road if I can't pull up to a gym?
Yeah.
That was it. That's
awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. And so talk to me about what does that look like for you out there from an exercise standpoint? I mean, I see you posting videos of, you doing a lot of body weight stuff. Do you have bands, resistance bands and stuff like that? Or
so I have resistance bands. I have a jump rope. I have a sweat belt. I have a 15-pound weight, a 5-pound weight, a yoga mat.
Cool.
And I'm thinking what else I have. And I have ankle weights.
Cool.
So I have a couple of things and I vary it. So it can be hard depending on what your schedule is, but it's always possible. Like you just have to want it. That's the main thing. You really have to want it. So you can find time in your day. Like I'm about to make another post, but you can do it at the end of your shift, make a routine and do it at the beginning of your shift. Because once you have your 10-hour break, you could always get up and train yourself for the first hour of your day. I'm going to make breakfast. I'm going to stretch. I'm going to do whatever. Then I'm going to go and get my load. So it just depends. Even when you're getting loaded, you can find time to get out, jumping jacks in the shower, at the end of the shift, walk around the truck stop. And the easiest thing as far as food is to meal prep.
Yep.
So if you're on a 34 or right before you go out, meal prep for a couple of days to give yourself a grace period. And then in those days when you feel a little lazy or you have some energy, start your next meal prep so you never break the cycle and it continues.
Yeah, I like that. And kind of before we get into the nutrition stuff, because I do want to talk to you about that and meal prepping,
Okay.
but from an exercise standpoint, because I see you doing, well, I saw you doing some workouts in the back of your trailer. That was kind of cool. But from, I talked to a lot of drivers and actually specifically females that are sometimes self-conscious, sometimes even scared to get out of their truck to exercise. Where do you find yourself like with that balance? Do you exercise in your truck sometimes? Talk through that.
So I do everything. When I first started out, because I was cautious and I was a woman in a male dominated industry, I was like, I'll work out inside of my truck because I know it's a little safer. So I can do almost anything. You can improvise and try to hit any body group. This doesn't sound good, but it's safe. I work out while I'm driving sometimes. Like if you're sitting still, you can hold your abs and let it go. And you can definitely do, if you put your feet together and you pulse your thighs, you can work your inner thighs. You can do little things while you're driving. As I got more comfortable running different places, then I knew my times of day where I could get out and work beside the trailer or behind the trailer. And if you're in a big company and you're at the yard, it's kind of free game. Nobody really cares when you're at the yard dropping trailers. So you could always go in the back and do something. As far as truck stops, I would prefer daytime for women if they just want to walk around and then come back to the truck, but never put yourself in a crazy position where it's too late or it's too secluded. I mean, you can, but you kind of have to know what's going on around you.
Yeah. And that can be scary. And it's just like that. It's what the hierarchy of needs. And if you don't feel safe, then it's going to be hard to move up and care about your health and get an exercise and stuff like that. And, so talk to me about meal prepping and what's your go-to? Do you like meal prepping at home and then taking it on? Do you cook in your truck? What does that look like?
So my end goal was to do it at home, but that's when I'm home,
realistic.
My schedule is kind of crazy. So unless I implement it, it's kind of like, whoo, I'll be on the go. But I try to grocery shop right before I get on the road, put it all in the truck, and then I'll try to meal prep. I'm venturing out and cooking more things now.
Okay.
But easy thing is spaghetti, rice and stuff where you can section into bowls and put in there. And you only want to do maybe 3 to 6 at a time. That'll carry you 2 days if you're doing lunch and dinner or breakfast. So just a few at a time. But I've made burrito bowls. I've made spaghetti. I've made salmon because now I'm vegetarian, but I've made salmon. I've made macaroni and cheese. I've made cupcakes, fried green tomatoes. You can make anything.
Okay. You're getting me hungry. You're getting me hungry.
You can make anything.
What type of cooking appliances do you have in your truck? Is it an air fryer? Obviously, probably a microwave.
Okay, so I personally don't use microwaves anymore.
Okay.
Like as I do more and more research, I'm cutting some things out. This healthy wave. Everybody's trying to find what's better, radiation, whatever. So I use an air fryer, but I have the big old school one, the big Boss fryer. Mine's is really good.
Okay.
So I have that. I have 2 hot plates. I have like a tea kettle to warm up water.
Oh, nice.
I have a blender for making smoothies. And I think that might be it.
That's awesome. Yeah, my wife and I started, we have an air fryer and we like heat things up in instead of like things that you'd normally microwave, we put it in the air fryer and it tastes more fresh. It tastes better a lot of the time. So that's awesome. So talk to me about how, what sparked you to start doing stuff on social media?
I watch other people before you get out here and you do anything. You want to see who's doing it first, right?
Yeah.
Who's paving the way. I watched a lot of people in the truck and kind of what they were doing. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make me an Instagram. I had a personal one, but I was like, let me make one separate for my trucking journey. And I just started posting on there, and I posted working out, and people were seeing it. And they were inspired by it. Because I was in the military and I swam in high school and everything, I'm not really shy, but I
Yeah.
can't speak for other people. So I don't mind putting it up there and doing whatever, because I'm going to do me regardless.
Totally.
But it helped other people. So I kept doing it. And then for a long time, people was like, you should start a YouTube. And I was like, I don't know. So now I'm doing it, and it's slow and steady. The followers won't always come as fast, depending on what you're doing. And a fitness journey is not the most glorious or attractive. And it's including men and women. So it's not one of them sex sells things. So it's a slow trot, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, no, and so what is the obviously the whole start and the reason why you started was help inspire other people and make it,
Yeah,
it's possible. What
it
do
is.
you have goals on social media stuff? Do you just want to keep posting and just kind of documenting your journey? What does that look like?
Okay, so I have a couple of goals. I actually want to be able to find my tribe of people. So you know how they have like truck conferences? I want to have a fitness conference. I want to create a line of clothing to inspire people. We can come together for conferences and maybe inspire other people. One of my big ones, it sounds crazy, but I want to start making videos that become programs that go to bigger companies so that they can offer those to the drivers when they first come in. So for them that have questions, they can say, well, we have somebody or programs that you can follow or videos to help you work out while you're on the road. So
Well,
people can follow those or get ideas. Outside of conferences and finding a crew of people, I want to do a trucker drive-through. So I want drivers to be able to pull up like a fast food place, and they can get healthy foods or meal prep options. And it's easier for truckers to get through those than major department stores or fitting in a small parking lot. So that's the end goal. I want to do those two things. And
that's
if I
awesome.
have time, a trucker gym. If
Okay.
I have time, and they'll have parking. I think one of the biggest advantages if I did that will be the parking, and also fitness classes that run overnight. You won't find
Oh,
any gym with classes overnight.
that's
So even if it's
interesting.
a boot camp class or something, drivers that run like me overnight sometimes can pull up, do a 30-minute class, and leave.
Gotcha. What is your typical so do you drive OTR or is it more local? What does that look like?
So now I'm OTR.
Okay.
I'll stay out for 3 weeks and I come home for a week. So while I'm out, my schedule can vary because I do expedited, so they can get a load that fast, and then I have to run it straight through. Um, but I still make time regardless. But since the times change, my workout times change. But I want to get to a place where I have at least a predictable day where I'm like, okay, well, I can be on and people can work out with me, or set up like services where people, can pay and work out with me if they need to, whether it's private or not. Everybody's not as confident, and they don't want everybody to see them working out. So if they need it, I'm like, I'm working out from 1 to 2 on this day. If you're available or you're stopped or on a 34, get on the Zoom call and do it.
Yeah,
Get
that's
on the YouTube
awesome.
live and do it.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I think that's like when I talk to drivers a lot of times, because we have members who, are kind of in the same spot of like their day's
Mhm.
unpredictable. And
Yeah.
so what have you found to be some tips if it's, scheduling it out, if it's just having a plan of beforehand of like, I know I need 30 minutes to get my workout in. This is exactly what I'm going to do. What have you done to help yourself set yourself up for success with like the
Mm.
unpredictableness of trucking when it comes to exercise?
Just really reminding myself that I need to do it,
Yeah.
honestly. But that's very simple to say, and that only really applies to me if I remember. But for other people, I would really suggest making a plan.
Yeah.
So when they know they have a 10-hour break, either in the beginning or at the very end, and I would suggest beginning, get up and make a small routine. Whether it's you get up and you normally make your bed or make your coffee, do a 10-minute stretch.
Yep.
Maybe while you're listening to some music, or get out and while you're doing your pre-trip, walk around the trailer or pace the trailer a few times or do some lunges, something that's at least 10 to 15 minutes before you get started, and at least goes before your pre-trip.
Yeah, I love that. And it's just like, how can we just fit just a little bit into your
Just a
regular
little
day to
bit.
day? You don't have to change everything at once. You just need to
Yeah.
say, hey, I'm doing this. I've got 5 minutes here. Let me just add something. I've
Yeah.
got 10 minutes here. Let me do a little bit more. Or, take the extra minute and find a little bit healthier food options out there.
Yeah.
Or, cook something. So that's awesome. And, I think, the last thing that we normally end the podcast with, guests is just like, if you had, to give a driver one piece of advice on, how to live a healthier life out on the road, what would you tell them?
Honestly, it'll be two things.
Okay.
During your day, at any point of the day, get out of your truck. Even if you don't work out, fresh air does a lot for the mind and the body and the mental health. Get out. I don't care if you pull over at a rest area or something, walk outside of your truck. Another one, outside of just working out, try to eat a piece of fruit a day. If you can just interject one little healthy thing, it may lead to bigger habits, but at least one little piece of fruit a day, replace it for a snack or a bag of chips or something.
I love that. I think that's great. You got to start somewhere, and the
Yep.
smaller and easier it is just to get into a routine of it, the better.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. Well, hey, I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you.
It was
I
awesome
appreciate it.
talking to you. I'm excited. Keep spreading the message. It's so
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
There's so many drivers out there that need the help, and everyone listening, go eat a piece of fruit, go out on a walk, do something. Don't lose this motivation. Use
Yep.
this. This is a sign. Go do it. It's so important for you, for your family, for your career, for life after
Absolutely.
trucking. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Trucking, big wheels there humming, high rate of fuel consumption, missing mama, needing loving, rolling with the weight and sound, running like the southern shaker. I don't need no 40 acres to turn this rig around. I'm jacked up like a Chevy, but ain't heading to the levee. Lord have mercy sakes, so why on this high